Kim with Mom's Creative Moments, and I am bringing you a two-page layout today in honor of the Queen from the United Kingdom, Queen Elizabeth, and her passing. I feel like it's a worldwide thing that we all ought to reverence and mark the occasion. You know, the 70 years of ruling her nation and her group of nations, actually. Quite remarkable, and so I want to mark this in my album. So I'm going to create a two-page spread of photos that I found on Facebook of the occasion that I feel honor her and her family. And I'm going to use the United Kingdom theme pack that we have with Creative Memories. It has some really nice papers. It has a plaid. It has this navy blue color with some umbrellas on it. It has this pattern with kind of all the iconic bits of Britain, the red telephone booths, the double-decker bus, the eye, Big Ben, tea, you know, just all kinds of those things that we all know Great Britain and England to be known for. And these beautiful laser borders, which I have left after I used this this theme pack to do a double page spread in my convention, my conference album, because we went to a British pub for dinner one of the evenings that we were in Minnesota back in June. So if you flip over to that that video that I did of the flip through of Creative Minds, then you will see another double page layout that I did using this theme pack. But I'm going to use the rest of it pretty much. Maybe not all of it, because I won't use all the stickers for sure, but I will use pretty much the rest of my laser borders and paper that is a part of this pack in this layout today. So bear with me. I'm going to also be using this sketch that came out here recently. I think it's a September challenge sketch. And so this is the sketch I'm going to go ahead and use to do this double page spread. I'm turning this one page sketch into a two-page sketch. So I hope you like this, and I hope it's something that you'll use. If you are going to do this with me, let me just run through the supplies with you real quick, along with photos that you'll need. We are going to use some of the stickers. We are going to use the laser border package, and I'm just using these three, and then a little bit of the flag that I had left over from the other two-page layout that I mentioned. And I'm going to use these papers, which are all double-sided, and so as you can see, we're going to use both sides of these and be able to do this. So I'm also going to use two navy pieces of cardstock as my base, two white pieces of cardstock as the part of the base, and we're going to cut the centers out of these navy pieces because we don't need that much. And then we're going to use red cardstock to mount our photos with. Okay, so I'm going to just pull these designer pages aside for just a second while we go ahead and trim up our designer paper, or I mean our base pages, and get them ready to go. First off, we're going to start with the white paper, the white cardstock. We're going to grab our trimmer, and we're going to make an 11.5-inch square out of each of these white pages. So I'm going to cut a 1/2 inch off here, and I'm going to turn it and cut another 1/2 inch off. You'll notice the 1/2 inch mark is the very beginning of the grid on the right hand side, so it makes it very easy, very quick to just cut a 1/2 inch and get that going. Okay, so we're going to cut a 1/2 inch off, make it an 11.5 inch square, and then set it aside for just a minute. While we get our blue frame that's going to go on the very back ready to go. All right, so we're going to use some clips to help us with our keeping our blade where we need it to go. When we're cutting an inside frame to cut the center out of a page, we need to have our blade stop at a certain point, and so I want mine to stop at approximately, well, let's do 1.25 inch frame around. That'll give us plenty of stability and make it easy since my clip is so large that I have here. So I'm just putting this big clip right up against the edge here, but basically you want this edge to be at about 1/4 inch so that your blade housing stops at 1.25 inches. All right, and then we're going to come down here, and for our 12-inch sheet, we want it to stop at 11 and we want it to stop at 10 3/4. So we have a 1.5 inch frame at the bottom. So I just attached my clip at the 11 3/4 inch mark, and then that way we will be able to have our appropriate 1.25 inch frame all the way around. So I'm using my upper bumper because that's how I use my measurements. If you go by your lower bumper, then you'll want to set your clips at a different place. I'm also using the 1.25 inch mark on the side here. So I'm going to push my paper to that 1.25 inch mark on the right, and I'm going to cut from clip to clip, and you'll notice my blades going down at the 1.25 mark here and stopping here just a little bit beyond the 10 3/4 mark. So I'm going to just move this just a tiny bit, and then we should be good. Okay, so we're going to turn this around and do 1.25. And keep turning it until you've made it all the way around. This is the smoothest, fastest, most accurate way that I know of to make a paper frame that's all one piece without creasing anything. Now we can get rid of or set this piece aside because we are not going to use it. You can use it in something else. We're going to use this frame, and we're going to take our white piece, and it's going to go right on top just like that. All right. Give me a second though, because since I'm doing a 2-page spread, I need to do this second one. So upper bumper, 1.25 mark, and here we go. If you're not sure or you don't quite understand how I set this up, I believe I did a video on how to make a photo frame that you're welcome to go ahead and reference, because I just don't have time to go through it all in this video. This video is going to be pretty long as it is. Okay. Now we've got our 2, and I need my adhesive, which I thought I had out, but I didn't. So we're just going to go and put some adhesive all the way around the white piece, and then we're going to center it on the blue cardstock. my family and I were fortunate enough to live over in Europe for 3.5 years during the early portion of my husband's military career. And though we didn't make it over to Britain, I have wanted to visit there for quite some time. We're going to get close next year. My mom and sister and my husband, all our kids, my cousin, we're all going to go and visit Ireland, which is probably as close as I'll get to Great Britain in the foreseeable future, although maybe at some point I might get there down the road. There's just something wonderful and iconic about Britain and its people, and it's one of the last remaining countries that actually has a king and queen, or king or queen. So we, I think we need to honor that and savor that. So here we go. We've got our bases together. Now we're going to just set those aside for a minute, and we're going to do some more cutting with our trimmer. So set your adhesive aside, remove your clips, because we're not going to use those right away. So I'm going to go ahead and cut these strips so that my soldiers and my phone booths are standing straight up. I want 1-inch strips, and I want 2 of each design. So I'm going to use those 2 strips are going to be the wallpaper type side, this side. Then I'm going to cut 2 more strips so that I can use the umbrella side. So we're going to flip this over, and we're going to use the umbrella side of this one. All right, like so. Then we're going to grab this paper, and we're going to cut 1-inch, essentially 4 1-inch strips of this one as well. And we're going to use, you won't see the variety in the flag, unfortunately, but we will get to that. I mean, there will be plenty of representations of the flag on this layout, so I'm not really worried about the fact that I'm cutting this paper. All right, so here are our 4 different designs that we're using for our strips. These strips are going to be used to create this design across the top here. And let me show you how we're going to do that, okay? So each of these is going to now be cut into, whoops, I was going to get rid of my trimmer. Oh gosh, watch me, ladies. I am in, I don't know, doing weird things today. Okay, so we're going to trim these in 3.5-inch increments. All right, so I need basically 4 pieces, 2 of each design. Will that be enough? We need 12 pieces, and we have 4 designs, and they're going to repeat. Well, we might have too many by doing that, but let's see. Let's cut. So I'm cutting these at 3.5 inches. And I'm just going to cut 2, so we have 4 pieces of each of these for right now. I don't think we need to cut the whole thing. In fact, let's see, because I have 2 and these are stacked, so I'm cutting 2 at a time. I'm just gonna, on the other ones, I think I'm just gonna cut one at a time. We'll see where we are. All right, so I'm gonna use, on my trimmer, I'm gonna use my 45-degree line. Do you see this line that's at an angle right here towards the cutting line? I'm putting the top edge of my strip right on that 45-degree line, and I'm putting the tip of my strip right on the cutting area. So on that groove where I know that my blade is going to cut, I have the point of my paper. You can see it right there. Okay, so I'm going to now, whoop, and of course I have to move it right before I need to cut. Here we go. All right, so we're going to push down and cut, and we're going to cut these little corners off. Do not get rid of these corners. We are going to use them, so just set them up there and hold on to them, okay? Now we're going to flip this over, and we're going to do the same thing on the other side. Okay, so essentially you're making, I think that's a rhombus. For those of you who are really, you know, good at math, don't judge me. I always say that math and I were good friends until I had to do geometry proofs, and then we had to part ways. We are no longer friends. All right, so here we go with our first two pieces. And now we're going to do the same thing. I'm going to do the same thing to these other two. And this does take a few minutes, but you don't want to rush because you want to make sure these are accurate. If these are not accurate, your design's not going to turn out the way you want it to. So keep that in mind while you are fussing with it, that you want it to turn out beautiful. So you're going to take your time and make sure it's lined up properly. All right. Another good way that you can make sure it's lined up in the right place, your point goes right here at the 4.5-inch mark, right in that niche of the 45-degree angle, and the 4.5-inch mark is where that point should go. And then you know you're in the right place. And I keep lifting up my fingers. My fingers must have moisture on them or something, because I keep shifting. My paper keeps shifting. All right, so we're going to do those two, and I'm going to hold off on these two for just a second. I'm going to actually, I'm going to do the same thing. We're going to stack these, and we're going to cut 2 at 3.5 and then trim them. There's one. There's another. Setting that to the side. Now we're going to do our angles. We need 12 pieces of these to make our border that goes across our page. But we are making 2 pages worth. So we are going to need more than what I've cut here. However, what I may do is just go ahead and edit it out so you don't have to watch all of that. I don't usually like to do that because I like you to have a good reference when you look at the amount of time needed for a video, for a layout. I feel like it helps if you can see that a video took me a certain amount of time to do, then you know that's approximately how much time it's going to take you to do. But this one has a lot of cutting, so I don't know. If you like that, would you write me a comment and let me know that that's important to you, that you can see how much time it's taking me? If you'd rather that I don't take the time, write me a comment. Let me know. Because I want to make these videos so they're helpful for you. And I have other people who have YouTube pages telling me that I need to make them fast so they're easy and quick, but I'm not an easy, quick kind of person. I mean, I can edit the video so it's like that for you if that's what you want. But I also feel like you can fast forward it too if you don't want to watch me fuss with all these things. Okay, so we are going to need a few more. And I'm just going to keep cutting. And that way we will have enough to do our 2 pages. Sometimes the paper does move, so you just want to be as careful as you can. Try to keep it from doing that. I'm going to see if I can cut 4 at once. See if it will. Oh, too high. See if it'll let me cut 4 pages or 4 pieces at once. Go a little slower. You can cut 4 at once without it shifting. I guess I should say without it shifting too much, to shift just a little bit. Okay. It's frustrating for me when it moves. All right. Now what we're going to do is we're going to assemble this. So grab one of your bases and I'll show you how we're going to put this together. We're going to use our repositionable adhesive. You'll want repositionable adhesive for this because it is a little bit tricky to line everything up. So if you have this, you'll be glad that you use it. So push the guard back and of course I need a new one. Bear with me 1 second. I've got another repositionable adhesive right here because I've been waiting for that one to go out. All right, there we go. Okay, so we're just going to add repositionable adhesive. I especially love repositionable adhesive whenever I'm using anything with a point, because as you can see right there, the adhesive can go all the way out and catch the point of what you're doing, and that way you are not left with it not adhered. I'm going to take this point almost all the way to the corner. I'm leaving about 1/8 of an inch. And we're going to start here. This is why you need to have everything be balanced and carefully cut so that all of your edges match. We're going to put small edges to small edges, and we're going to build across our page. Okay, I'm just going to go ahead and put a red solid piece up against this. We're not making any of these be the same color or the same paper, They're going to be all different. So we need blue. This design kind of borders on the paper art realm of things. So you can either, you know, continue and do the same pattern if you want to, or you can vary it up. The reason I mentioned about the paper art is because I'm not a super good at paper art. I know there are women out there, scrapbookers, who are so good at creating all kinds of wonderful things from paper. I think I was a student in one of the virtual classes that Martha Murray has put on, where she has created some amazing things from paper art. Let me get my all-purpose tool because I just laid that down and it's not far enough from the top, so I think I'm going to have to be just a little bit off with my thing in order to keep it straight. Okay. Anyway, she makes some really amazing things with her paper art, which is cool and really, really fun for her to do. I'm not gonna, what do I want to put there? Maybe another blue. Let's do some more blue. And then, let's see, we need another plaid. Anyway, so if you are one of those people who is super good at paper art, you're going to love putting this kind of a layout together because it's right up your alley. I am just not what I would consider to be super efficient, proficient. I'm not really that good at it, but you know, it's okay. We all have our strengths, right? All right, we're going to do another one of our foam booth. And these are just, uh-oh, did you see what I just almost did? That was going to be upside down. Okay, so this particular piece I need to save for a different area. So if you have this paper that you are using, you're going to want to, I did it again. I need one that is long on that side, and I don't have it. Okay then. So we're gonna just switch and do a red. I don't have any that are long, and so that my soldiers are standing the right direction. So now we can go ahead and use one of these for the short side. I have to pay attention when I've got to pay attention when I'm doing this, so that I can make sure that things are the right side up. If you're doing this for a different type of layout, not using this particular paper, it might not end up being as tedious for you if your paper's not directional like this. All right, so I need one more. Which one are we gonna do? I've got 1, 2, 3 of these. I've got 1, 2, oh, we need a plaid there. Okay. I'll put this one. All right, And will you look at that? My measurements I thought were spot on, but apparently not, because mine is going to be too far over. So I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to go back and I'm going to overlap my pieces by just a tiny bit. So that I can not have to cut quite so much off of that end piece. Oh no. Sorry about that, guys. I thought that the math was correct. But we did cut a ½ inch off. So those of you who have been watching this video the whole time and going, she's gonna mess up because her math doesn't add up, you were right. And I apologize. Like I said, math and I, we have not been friends for a while. And my tips of my rhombuses, I'm pretty sure that's what this is a rhombus, are actually touching the top of my page, which I am going to be okay with. So, just so you know, when we're interpreting a sketch, even people who have scrapbooked for a long time, sometimes we goof because the measurements are not on the sketch. So we are figuring it out just like you are figuring it out. And as much as I would like to, lead you to believe that I do it perfect every time, that's just not how it works. All right, we are just about there, and then I can go ahead and put that final piece on, and I think it's gonna fit. But let's see. Here it is. Oh, and look at that, now it's too far because I want that to be right on the edge. So this is just fiddly, but I don't want it to be off. So I'm gonna fix it. There. All right. So to do this particular piece, and this is going to be our piece on the left hand side, we are going to decorate this page. This is going to be our left side of the 2-page layout. We are going to go ahead and use, like I said, a couple of pieces here. So I have these 4 little flags left from my other layout that I did. And I also have this laser border that's left. And what I'm going to do is cut this in half. And half of it is going to go on this page, and the other half is going to go on the right side of the page. So I'm going to go ahead and just pause this for a second Well, you'll be able to see it because I will speed it up. But I'm going to go ahead and do the other bit that goes across the right hand side of the page, and then we will go ahead and assemble the rest. So bear with me. I'm just going to set this off to the side and put together the other bit that goes across.